my name's Jeffrey Funk with the Funk Collection, brokered by eXp Realty. And today we have a special guest, Mayor Gary Bruhn. He's Mayor of Windermere here. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And, you're stopping by. It's our 1 year anniversary in
Congratulations.
Windermere. Thank you. And you were here for our ribbon cutting.
That was actually a year
ago?
ago?
It was a year ago. Can you believe that?
Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
It is. Time flies. We're having a lot of fun. We talk about having fun a lot over here. So we want to thank for everybody in Windermere for being so gracious and accepting to us and making us feel like home here. And wanted to talk to you a little bit about your experience. You've been here in Windermere for how long now?
I've lived in my house in Windermere 30 years, and I've been mayor for 15 of them.
And you're originally from?
My dad was in the Army, so I was born in Kansas. I went to high school in Germany. I've been on Army bases literally around the world, and so I graduated from high school in Wisconsin. I went to college in Wisconsin, but then I migrated to Georgia. But now I worked for Lockheed Martin, and back then it was Martin Marietta, for almost 30 years. So this is home. I've been in Florida 36 years. So,
yeah.
It's kind of my home, I guess, at this point. So
I've been down here 24 years already, and it's whoa.
The changes we have seen have been just absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, not just from the growth standpoint, but I mean just from all aspects of what's going.
What are your two favorite things about Windermere, in particular?
Well, I think one of the great things about Windermere is you could actually think you're off the beaten path. I mean, you look like you were in a very rural settlement area, but despite that, you're just minutes from the turnpike, minutes from the interstate, minutes from the East-West Expressway. So, although I could say, you are probably 8 to 10 miles from downtown Orlando. Of course, depending on what day it is, that means it could be a longer drive. But nevertheless, I think the accessibility to being in such a rural area is one of the things I like. And I think the other thing I really like about it is the fact that, you're really in wilderness. It sometimes feels you're surrounded by the lakes, surrounded by woods. So it's a very although you're in an urban setted area, you still feel like you're out in the country. So I think that's
It's amazing that we have Disney so close.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people like call up and they're like, well, I don't want to be near the tourists. And we're like, no, it is rural, it's quiet. If you would never, besides the 9 o'clock fireworks, sometimes you'd never know we were here.
And if you know the back way, you can be in Disney in 15 minutes,
yeah.
Which is the only way I ever go. You stay off the interstate. But yeah, you're close to everything, and I think that's one of the things that's really unique about Windermere.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did a video yesterday about a new clock that's outside.
Okay.
And well, first off, what happened to the old clock?
Well, this is one of those things where, I guess if you buy something, you better make sure that you can get repair parts. And that clock was actually donated by a couple of individuals, and it was put up, and it stopped working. And of course, that means it was only right twice a day, And so when we went to look and see, well, what's it going to take to repair it, it cost as much as a new clock. So what ended up happening with the old one is it's going to go to the historic preservation, and they can decide what they want to do. It's a piece of history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the new clock was not paid for by taxpayers. It was our downtown business committee come up and paid for that. And a lot of people don't realize, what does our downtown business committee do? They run our farmers market on Fridays. They run our food trucks once a month, and they generate revenue. And they take that revenue and they put it back into things that improve the downtown. So that was one of the things that was there. I know there were people saying, why are you spending money on a clock? Well, it's not tax dollars.
We did.
No. The downtown business committee wanted it to improve the downtown. So.
And it's really nice. Like I said, we did a video out there yesterday, and it's got the crest over there, and it's really specialized too. I'm assuming we can find parts for it too.
Yeah, we got a warranty on this one. Remember, we didn't buy the last one. It was donated and put in, and so it's kind of funny because when that happened, now that suddenly became an icon, and people are like, well, why isn't the clock working? It is. Somebody like today.
What's the most significant improvement you've experienced in the Windermere area?
I think seeing our police department grow into what it is one of the most important things for the town of Windermere. I mean, you know, we've had some real issues back many, many years ago, and now to see our police department consistently be ranked among the top for its size in the state is a very significant thing. The fact that, and I tell people one of the most important things for me, why I moved to Windermere was a police department.
Having your own police
I
department.
mean, when you can tell someone that you can have 3 or 4 minute response time to a police officer, that can be the difference between life and death. If you've got someone in the pool or somebody's having cardiac arrest, I mean, we have the defibrillators. We have, I mean, a 3 or 4 minute response time, like I said, is phenomenal. And that is one of the things I think that I am most proud of, and one of the reasons why I do choose Windermere to live, just for that aspect.
I can attest for the response time because I have set off an alarm before going into a house and not having the alarm code, and they were there fast. They were there really fast.
I mean, you think about that. I mean, there's other people, you know, that depending where they live, 20, 25 minute response time because, you know, there's only so many.
Sure.
If you're out in the
county.
But I mean, that to me, that is such a significant thing to have a 3 or 4 minute response time.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple fun facts about Windermere.
Couple fun facts about Windermere. Well, fun fact about Windermere. Windermere really wasn't the seat of the place that it was back 100 years ago. It was Gotha.
Yeah.
Gotha really was like the hotbed of activity because lands were cleared and the rail would come in, and on the shores of Lake Down is where the mills, there was a huge wood mill there, and they would literally cut the logs, float them across the lake, mill the wood, and build the homes. And in the late 1880s, this place was booming. People were coming down. They were living here in the winter, and they were growing oranges and shipping the oranges back up north, and that's how they would prosper, and they would pay for their winter home in Florida. But like the 1980s, back in the 1880s, back to back freezes wiped out, decimated the entire orange groves, and Windermere technically became a ghost town. I think the population in the late 1890s was 6. It dropped down, and enter a man named Cal Palmer, who came in and started buying up the land in the early 1900s. He paid $10,000 for the entire downtown. And you know, you laugh, but I mean, $10,000 in 1900s probably was a lot of money. But that's kind of why, interestingly, he's the individual who platted the town, and so that's why you see didn't take rocket science to do it, but you have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th Avenue, and then he started going with Butler for the lakes, Pine, Palm, Forest. I don't know how Oakdale got in there, but he did Oakdale. But so that's why the streets are laid out the way they are. And a town that was booming to a town that disappeared to now a town that's kind of, let's put it this way, Windermere really hasn't grown.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the surrounding area. People don't realize this, but the town of Windermere is 3,000 people.
Yeah.
3,000 people. 34,000 people have a Windermere address. They have a 34786 zip code. So everybody thinks, oh, the growth that you're getting, oh my God, the taxes you must be raising. No. Only 3,000 people pay taxes to the
Still the same.
Windermere. Yeah. So that's a fun fact. I don't know if it's fun, but it's a fact.
Looking forward to the future, what are you most excited for the city?
One of the things that we really are going to have to address, and I've already been trying to work with some of the new county, we've got to find another east-west route. You cannot continue to develop Horizon West. You cannot continue to develop Hamlin unless you can be able to have another east-west road. You cannot just continue, bringing that kind of traffic in. Every day we experience 18,000 cars every workday.
Yeah.
and there's only one last effort, I think, one last chance to build an east-west road, and that would be, if you're familiar with what they're doing, is the Darrell Carter expressway over there. Well, they're actually going to link it now from, they've got the flyover on I-4,
Okay.
they're going to take it, and it's supposed to be done in the next 2 years, I believe. That will actually provide a road going directly to Apopka Vineland. What we need a road to go from Apopka Vineland to 535.
Sure.
There's that approach. The perfect route, well, it's not perfect, but the only route would be through some wetlands. And of course, everybody gets all upset and say, "Oh, you can't build roads through wetlands." Well, we've already proven we can. The Wekiva Parkway has been done. That. You just make sure that you don't have any development around it, and you make sure, yes, it'd be expensive because some of it would have to be bridged to let water flow. But I think that's one of the things that we are just going to have to work together with the county and our surrounding communities. I'd also like to see Old Winter Garden Road extended. I've been working with the COE on that. If you've ever gone down, I think it's interesting, you'll see that there's a lane to turn left to go into the woods.
Yeah.
And remember, and the curb goes in. Well, there's always been a plan there, and I thought it would be ideal if we could extend, and the mayor of COE's on board with me and trying to get this, if we could extend Old Winter Garden Road, and ideally, if we could have a road that would loop onto the turnpike that would give you that access to the 429 going north-south. So that's the two biggest things that I think would have a dramatic difference in impact on our town.
Yeah. So we're approaching our favorite time of year here. Coming into the fourth quarter, and what are some exciting events that we do here in Windermere?
Well, Friday night we had a huge turnout. It was our national night out. We had all law enforcement agencies, EMT, we had everybody here, and live band and everything. But it amazes me the turnout that we get on a regular basis on our fourth Friday food truck night. But nothing compares to what we call Light Up Windermere.
Yeah.
And that's always, I have to remind everybody, it's not the fourth Friday in November, because the fourth Friday is Black Friday. So we have it the third Friday in November, and we will have literally 3,000 people here, and we bring snow in. The kids get to have snowball fights, and we have the Baptist, the different choirs for the Christmas season, DJ music or live band music. It sometimes varies. So that is probably the biggest event coming up is Light Up Windermere. We also have Halloween. We have our spooktacular. All the kids get in their costumes the Saturday before Halloween. They trick or treat downtown, and we have hundreds of kids show up for that too. So, and you get into that whole time period, that's going in. The only other thing probably as big is our Easter egg hunt.
The Easter egg hunt is huge.
We get 800 kids for an Easter egg hunt, and of course, we give away some pretty good prizes. So it becomes like the big event around the area.
The food truck night, it's just always so much fun, and you can just relax, and it's just comfortable. It's not there's not many places you can go now where you can be around a big group of people, and it's just you feel like you're at home, good old town USA.
And let me share this with you, and a lot of people don't recognize it and don't realize it. When we started the food truck event, about 6 months in, I said, this really isn't a pleasant experience.
Right.
You know why? Generators. Generators would be running everywhere you go. You'd have to be yelling to be heard. If you're standing in line, we got 14 food trucks running generators, smelling the fumes. And I said, what can we do?
Yeah.
The Downtown Business Committee stepped up, and we have electric that runs all the way down our dirt main, well, we call it dirt main, but it's not, down our main street areas and our parking lot areas. And we tell the food trucks, you can't run a generator. So they plug in, and you can literally be talking just like this, without the roar of generators, without the smell of the fumes. And that is what I think makes Windermere's food truck event better than any other food truck event, because you don't have all that noise and fumes, and it makes it such a pleasant experience. And we can have a DJ, we can have live music and hear it, but without hearing the roar of the generators from other areas.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. What are you most proud about with the town of Windermere?
I think we've been able to keep our small town atmosphere. I think that's been good, very good. We've consistently been one of the lowest taxed communities.
Yeah.
I mean, we are still under 4 mills. We will be at 3.7425, I believe it is, this year. But I mean, we've been able to make a lot of improvements. We've been able to keep our tax rate low, despite the fact that we do not have that growth that everybody thinks we do. So I think, being able to have, I've talked about the police department. I'm very proud of what they've been able to do. Our partnership with the Coe Fire Department helps keep our taxes low because we contract with them.
I think it's a big misconception that the town has a higher tax rate than.
Oh,
yeah.
Admittedly, we probably have a higher. We have a low millage rate.
Yeah. But
per capita, we probably have a higher average home value. But no, we are not a very heavily taxed city. Everybody's like wealthy Windermere. Well, not really, because I mean, like I said, I think we probably, if not the lowest, we'll have the second lowest millage rate of any city in Orange County.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really good.
So I think that's one thing I think is very important, keeping the millage rate low. Also, trying to continually make improvements. I have a saying I like to say, and people probably don't think about it, but cities and towns are just like homes. You not only have to maintain them, you have to improve them. Or pretty soon, nobody wants to live in it.
Sure.
So, that's kind of the philosophy you've got to have. You've got to continually be trying to make improvements. We made the road improvement in front of the elementary school. We knew we had to do that. I mean, that's a situation where we didn't create that. I mean, most of the kids that go to Windermere Elementary don't live in Windermere, but nevertheless, we had to step up our tax dollars, and we made that improvement so that traffic can flow much better. We have the additional lane for queuing and all that.
And how do you? It's a real delicate balance of keeping the improvements, but the overall charm of Windermere.
And the next thing that I would like to do for as long as I've been here, trying to finish what I would call our walkability of Windermere. And we have a certain couple of areas that's I call the missing link. And that would be right on the corner of the 6th Avenue roundabout.
Yeah.
On that whole area, because of the terrain and the utilities that are there. Our goal is within the next 6 to 9 months to finish and put that sidewalk in.
Okay.
And I got to be honest with you, some of the residents said they don't want the sidewalk, but I mean, that is what completes the ability for anyone to be able to literally walk through most of the towns. If you want to try to go to the Grove, we got to make it so that you can walk there safely. Yeah. And you know what that 6th Avenue roundabout is like. So I mean, that's really
absolutely
a key.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's and it's been a very. You like this time of year. For us, it's a very trying time of year because our budget starts October 1. So we've been busy working on capital improvement plans, and today is October 1st.
Can you believe it's October 1st?
Yeah, and that means there's the start of our new fiscal year, and everybody goes, what? Yeah, our fiscal year, our new budget starts today. So, and of course, with fall coming last week, didn't you feel that Christmas in the air?
Not yet.
No, it's 94 yesterday, so no.
We're waiting for that time where it's...
So, what would I change in Windermere? I'd like a little bubble so that I can put air in conditioning. So, anyway.
Well, we really appreciate everything you do for this wonderful town, and we see Mayor walking past our all the time.
Although he has to say, I haven't seen you recently because it's been too hot or it's raining every afternoon. But anyway, it was my pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Have